2018, I was getting into doing songwriting on Fiverr. And a lot of folks don't know that's a hustle right there.
Oh, yeah, I had what's my guy's name? Cubo. He's from this. He did a story and where somebody covered him. I forget the platform that covered. It might have been Fiverr, but he made like 6 figures basically taking requests from companies.
I know.
I think he might have covered the same story low key.
I think he might have covered that. I forget his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. He got covered by CNN and CNBC.
In his story, 6 figures off of like companies. Instead of companies, you know, I guess the traditional way they do it is go through a third-party company that then kind of sources all of the artists and figures out who to work with, and then they get paid a fraction from the company, and then they bust that down and give it to the artist or the producer. But yeah, that kind of made me look at it because I was like, oh shit, okay, so that. But then there's also this, and I want to ask you about this before you get into that story. Did you have an issue with the stigma of what it looked like? You know, well, I don't know if that's a West Coast thing, because I know for sure people be looking at shit and be like,
nah, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. So what actually enticed me to go in that direction is I had another homie in the local community out here that was already cracking niggas' heads on there. So at first I wouldn't have, if somebody would have brought it to me, I probably would have been like, I don't know. But he had put this post up on Instagram where he was leaving. Like he ain't tell nobody he was doing it until he said, I'm done with it. So he posted on Instagram like, yo, I've been on Fiverr and I made more money off of this than I was doing driving Uber and doing Uber Eats and all this shit. And I'm like, okay, I just seen this nigga performing at a show a few weeks ago.
What happened between here and there?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so he been eating, you know? So when he said that, I was like, okay, well, if he's leaving, who finna fill his shoes? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I know we're both like comparable talent. So if he's leaving, somebody else is going to need that service. So I signed up immediately. And I got to it. And it took a minute before people, you know, actually started placing orders with me. I would get like the occasional thing, you know, every couple weeks or something like that. But then, of course, in that marketplace, the more active you are, the more your reputation kind of builds, the more they kind of algorithmically place you in front of people and all this other type of stuff. So going into 2019, it started becoming like a decent little, I don't even know the word to use at this time, but just like supplemental income is what I'm thinking of. So I'm working, I'm done, but I'm like, okay, I'm eating off this Fiverr shit. And I'm also getting royalties off of the TV shows and other shit. So I'm like, damn, I got about three streams of income now. I'm starting I'm coming along. So we did the Songwriter Social Club to kind of educate people on the different processes of like, okay, this is the music business. This ain't the music industry necessarily, but this is the music business. And this is how you can eat off of your talents if you actually are dedicated to the craft and dedicated to, you know, finding a path to sustain you while you focus on this larger, you know, goal.
Right.
So that's how a lot of that started. And, you know, luckily at the time, Fiverr was kind of getting involved with different initiatives and stuff like that. So they allowed me to partner with them to do it. And so they gave me access to General Assembly out here in Atlanta, which of course is, you know, it's like an educational venue.
Okay.
And crazy enough, they didn't even tell me, but they sent food and everything to the venue. So I'm like, oh, we got
catered it and all that.
Yeah, they catered it.
Fiverr one time.
So
Fiverr does seem like a company that is very much community centric.
Yeah. And I gotta say, it used to be more so than it is today. I think now they're focusing heavy on like the development of AI, and you know, if you're trying to like get involved with that, they're definitely,
of course,
open to that, which makes me fall back a little bit.
Right.
So
that to me, when I start seeing companies talking about AI, to me that's code for, oh, y'all niggas ain't making no more money, huh? Oh, you need to automate some shit. You gotta offload some people, don't you? Huh?
They making money, but they like, how can we get to it faster? You know what I'm saying?
How can we cut these margins?
Yeah,
How can we
yeah.
cut these, how can we figure out how to get these margins even wider? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
How can I spend red money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did that, and I did that a couple times. And the only thing was I wanted to keep doing it at a certain pace.
Mhm.
And they had so many different things they were involved with that I had to like take it on to my own thing.
Yeah.
So continue that. We started doing let me see. Then simultaneously, we were doing this yearly. At first, it started out as a picnic. It's called the Fresh and Local Picnic, and it turned into like a mini festival.
Mhm.
Um, so at the same time, I was like, how can I merge these two things? Like from the live performance and supporting indie artists to also having a educational aspect to what it is that we're doing. So when 2020 came, and of course COVID knocked a lot of shit out of orbit, we
Sheesh.
did this we did it virtually.
Okay.
So we
So you got like
allowed
students or whatnot that were in the environment, or just aspiring artists? Like who
Nah,
was
so
the
this is all just local community
Mhm.
of like artists, producers, because we had folks, um I don't know if you're familiar with Controllerize out here in Atlanta.
Hell yeah, shout out
Oh,
my
okay.
the outro, stop being stingy. That's produced by Stolen Drums.
My nigga. So
Look, I'm out there. I don't know when. I told him, I said, it ain't gonna be this month. I'll probably be out there next month. So, I don't know if you're gonna be out there to control the rise, but I'm like, I gotta be out there for sure.
bet. So like we was fucking with dudes from that camp. A couple of them came and did like live beat sets and stuff on the show. We had couple out of state artists that wanted to perform. So
Mhm.
what we did was allowed them to just send in their performance, and I did the hosting and broadcasting and just playing everybody's shit. And then we did like some live interviews. Shout out to Miss Tammy Latrell, who out here in Atlanta from the Mezzo agency, helping artists get their publishing and shit in order. So we had a whole conversation about that. I had a conversation with this guy from iHeartRadio talking about the independent radio business and stuff, so people could learn how to, get their sound exchange set up and all of this different shit. So it was like a culmination. It was low key like an online South by Southwest type of vibe. You know what I mean?
Which was supremely needed during the pandemic, because you saw more, and I understood why, but you saw more of these type of companies either turning into charities themselves, which was really dope, or turning into people who were trying to get some of that PPP loan money, or or like, if you guys want to keep this alive and we all get back outside, make sure you donate. And I just looked at that and I'm like, man, with the way that things are shaped, specifically independent artists get their ass kicked. We get our ass kicked by so many different things to pay for, so many fees to get this, especially when we care and want this to look really good. So I imagine something like that during the pandemic had to be crucial for a lot of people that had time too to actually put it into action.
Exactly. And it turned out to be way more than I projected it to be. And then at the same time, I'd man, so many different things came into fruition at this time. So we multicasted that shit to YouTube, Facebook, all these different things. And at the time, I'm still learning how all of this shit works. So I'm like, damn, this YouTube shit could be something. Plus, my wife, my now wife, she was already on YouTube. And some of y'all in the chat already know my wife. But yeah.
What was she doing? Like it was like her business or something that she had on there? Or was it just what kind of content?
So she does, at the time she was doing kind of like housewives content and like really like TV and kind of what they call gossip type of thing. So she was giving her side of the game on that side.
Right.
And it was kind of like letting me know that there was an avenue out there for this commentary, because I was not privy to YouTube all that heavy. You know what I'm saying? Outside of people like you, I didn't really know who was out here. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, you were familiar with me back then? I had no idea that you even.
Bro, I used to play your beats on YouTube.
What?
Dead serious.
I've been around here too long. How long? What year we talking about?
My dog, I'm talking about I witnessed when your channel went from uploading beats to I'm about to start doing commentary and tutorials and shit. I watched that shit happen.
Bro, you know what's so crazy about that is, so I in the process of me doing YouTube, I've been in 2 different relationships, right? And both of those significant others contributed their own feedback that was so much more valuable than what I was doing. When I tell you my channel first started, all I had in my mind was that I was on fire about giving advice because, oh, do we lose you?
Hold on, let me see what the hell going on, man.
It's all good. It's all good. I was gonna say is that I was on fire about giving to other people and giving advice because I felt like, damn, I've met so many people. There we go. I met so many people, and I feel like part of a very small percentage of independent artists that got blessed to get this information in this game. And I was like, man, I was going to Tony Robbins events at the time. I was consuming a podcast called Entrepreneurs on Fire. There was a book I read called The Go Giver, and it just had me like on fire to just give. So the first 200 videos, I was just telling stories, and you know, some of it did well, some of it didn't. I had a series called Artist Marketing 101, Producer Motivation 101, because I was just talking to the audiences I thought I could talk to. And bro, I'll be honest, there wasn't a whole lot of folks at that time on this space that looked like us. It was a lot of folks that there's a lot of folks that was like, and it's not that that's a problem that you have other representation. I love to see diversity in a situation, but you also, just like a kid, man, a kid wants to be able to they want to be able to see a piece of themselves in their cartoon characters, a piece of themselves in their superheroes, which is so dope. Like I wish we had like a Black Panther growing up. Like I think the closest I had was Bishop and X-Men. I was like, that's gonna be what it is then. But with that said, man, my wife now, bro, she's been telling me to do the content that I've been doing for the last 3 years, for the last 7 years.
I can relate.
But I'm curious if you're going through this, bro. Coming at you from a major city where you know if you say some shit, these niggas might pull up on you in the studio on accident. And then you got a face like, damn, I just did a story about this nigga. I know he's seen this shit. It's happening right now, bro. Like I done went to a LA event and somebody, I didn't even say nothing negative. I just didn't agree with them. He gave me that look like, yeah, nigga, I seen that video, and then turned around. And I was like, over YouTube? But it was like years that my channel never talked about anybody else because in my mind, you know, oh, that's gossip. But I was like, but I be talking about these people when I'm offline. So how is that? Am I such a better person? Because I talk, it's barbershop talk.
Yep.
It just so happened to be here, sitting here on YouTube. But I struggle with that, bro. I struggle with that. And she was like, you need to just do like reactions. You need to like talk about popular people. And then there's also a little pride in me that was like, I'm somebody too.
Yeah.
Talk about them. Did you go through some of those that myriad of emotions?
I went through the whole shit. So because I came to YouTube thinking I was about to be like fucking what's my boy name from Indepreneur? I'm sure you know who that is. But
who's it? You said again?
Indepreneur, that platform. It was this dude. He was just trying to educate motherfuckers about the music industry and all this shit. He had like blonde hair. I was like, I'm finna be the Black Indepreneur out this bitch. So so I came just strictly talking about royalties and songwriting and all of this other shit. And I'm like, damn, I'm getting 100 views, which at the time I felt decent about it because I'm like, okay, I'm coming from zero.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I couldn't fully invest into YouTube at the time because I'm like, I can't put so much time into this if I'm not getting anything out of it. And she's like, hey, you probably should, take on broader topics, about what's going on, and you could tie it into the business. And, so she kind of outlined this whole shit before I was willing to accept that there was a way to do it. Cause I had the same thing. I'm like, man, I really don't want to talk about these niggas going through all this crazy shit. Cause there's plenty of crazy shit.
You sound like me right now, bro. This shit is a part of me is dying all over again. Cause I remember this, and I remember being standing on my peg. What's good, deleted? I remember standing on my peg. I was like, but baby, I'm somebody too, and I'm making music, and I'm here because I don't want to talk about these niggas all day long. And then one day, but I don't want to jump the gun. But yeah, one day that changed. But continue.
Yeah, for sure. And same shit over here, bro. Because I just was like, man, because at the time, I still had this idea, like, I'm going to be among these niggas and it's going to be a problem. Right. And I didn't really understand, like, it took for me to like have my own realization to really get to it. And the realization that I came to, it was like off the YouTube spectrum, but just in my independent walk period. I was like, bruh, if I'm independent, I am not confined to the rules that these niggas play by. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and
so that
proceed.
Nah, you right on time. Sheesh. So that influenced me in terms of how I make my music, the type of music I wanted to even like venture into. Because at one point I was like trying to make this really like mainstream palatable type shit. I was trying to dumb down my lyrics if I could, like all this other stuff. And then that also played a role in how I wanted to do YouTube, because it was like trying to do safe content, not to be confrontational, not to like rub people the wrong way, trying to be this real squeaky clean type nigga, which, yeah, I'm that. But at the same time, like, we all talk about this shit. Like, the artists in the game talk about each other's shit. Like, let's be real.
We all doing, and also, what did you land your point? Because I mean, there's definitely something I want to add to that. Is that
you go ahead.
My thing in the same boat, bro, was my moment that I had a click, and I started to like, because even when I first started doing reaction videos, it was like, the other day Jermaine Dupri said something, and this is what he said. Isn't that grand? Thank you for subscribing, like, and love. And then it was like, nigga, what is your opinion? You imagine a sports show where you're like, yesterday LeBron James played basketball. He missed some shots and he made some shots, but that's basketball. Okay, back to you, Stephen A. Like, nobody want to see that shit. I didn't want to see this shit. And I was still kind of like being really soft around the edges about it until I figured out, I was like, your brain is saying something different than what you actually are saying in this moment out loud. What are you doing? Then I had a homie of mine. He's actually Atlanta-based too, my homie Epic the Don. He was like, I couldn't watch your videos. And I said, why? He said, I didn't see you in them.
Damn.
That's somebody who's known me 10 years, 15 years plus. He said, I couldn't see you in them. And that's when I realized, like, I was doing. Here's a thought that I had that fucked me up, bro. You know what it's like when you're pursuing the industry, and you know what it's like to get on code, and you're like, okay, there's certain things that I can't do to be accepted by the industry. There's certain things that I can't do if I want to be invited in certain rooms. And you kind of like take that on as a kind of a personality, or kind of your new mode. I realize I've been walking around here acting like I'm signed, even though I'm independent. Like, acting like I'm shackled by somebody else's standards of how I should handle myself, when I'm actually independent, but I'm not using my independence.
Absolutely.
Independent thought, independent music. You just said it earlier. The formulas that sometimes we create with the music, like, oh, damn, can I go too complex with this? Because what about the audience? And it's like, imagine if Basquiat felt that way. Imagine if the Beatles was like, nah, bro, we're not going to use all these multi-channels. We don't have the technology to keep up with that. We don't have the band, because at one point in time they had so many instruments that they put in the multi-tracks that they couldn't play them. They couldn't do it live.
Yep.
But somebody got to do that shit. Somebody got to be the one that jumps in here and breaks the mold. And so I salute you, because that shit, bro, I don't think audiences realize it. Like, damn, it's like a lot of work. I'm pretty sure. Same thing with you on yourself to become this person.
Absolutely. And it's crazy, because ultimately, just like coming back to Epic the Don's point, like, it was really more so of a journey to come back to being myself rather than trying to be this other nigga, man. Like, I don't know who that nigga was, man. So
who was you trying to
Like even down to my southern accent, right? I would try to like take that out and speak proper and like it was the news.
Oh, you went through that too. Ooh, I don't feel alone no more. I don't feel alone. This is my dog. I don't feel alone no more. I swear to you, bro. I was sitting in certain videos and I was like, rappers and music producers, Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com. And today I want to, and I was like, hey, whose man's is this?
Sound like a radio promo.
Yeah, but like at the same time, we came up in a different time where when you do that, that shit can get you looks.
Yeah.
Right? That can get you sponsors. Right. It makes you a safer bet for sponsors. But thank God, I feel like that kind of pivoted to where even the sponsors are realizing that shit don't sell nothing. This is not 1950s marketing. Right. That's why when you see these Manscaped ads, niggas will be right in the middle of a conversation and be like, hey man, let's talk about your balls.
Right.
I never thought we'd get to a day like that where they just jump into a commercial like that. But that's what I'm saying is that if your audience love J Nolan for being J Nolan, why would you stop him from being J Nolan so that you could sell a product? Why do you think that's going to sell the product?
Yep. And shit, the more that I began to like sit in my own, like, this is me, this is what I'm doing. I mean, the opportunities came, you know what I'm saying? Because at one point I was like super like music business news centric, and that shit did get opportunities.
Yeah.
Because you know, it started getting people to like get me to be, I'm gonna pay you to come speak at this event over here. You know, so I was like, okay, bet.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was a shortage of people within our culture that was willing to do it. So I stepped into that shit wholeheartedly, but at the same time, it wasn't all that I could have been doing. So now, just to fast forward, you know, I'm really just being comfortable. Like, nigga, this is me. Like, this is my perspective. And I see that although that may rub some people the wrong way, it creates an opportunity to expand even further. And it gives you, because some days it do get slow. It gives you those extra pieces of content to just be like, all right, nigga, that's how you feel. Well, let me say how I feel then.
Well, let me ask you a very, very, very rare and specific question about this point right here. What was the first time like where it was awkward? And then a follow-up question in terms of like, was there ever an awkward moment where you're covering the story on somebody and you're like, how much do I put on this? Like, how much do I put in terms of my own opinion on this? Or did you come out the gate swinging?
Oh man, it took a minute. So I think honestly, if we're gonna keep it a buck,
keep it a buck.
it took for the fucking battle last year.
Same.
With the back and forth, cause like, all right, I'm a Kendrick fan through and through. I've been a fan of this nigga since 2009.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But it was tough because when the fan bases get involved, it's like an expectation of, okay, this nigga did swing, but is it okay for me to say that another nigga swung back? You know what I'm saying? And at a certain point, it wasn't even about Drake. It was about, I told this to Chapo the other day, the Meet the Grrrls joint, right? So Meet the Grrrls came out. I'm like, lyrically, this nigga going crazy. The element of the spooky shit was awesome.
Right.
But at the time, I knew who the competitor was. I said, because I felt like the first person to make a hit record out of the beef was going to be able to control the narrative. So I'm like, damn, I need this nigga Dot to goddamn come on with it. I'm like,
days in between felt a lot longer than what the calendar says, bro.
Right. So I was like, man, this nigga need to come on and knock this nigga out. So that, you know what I'm saying? Because I know this dude over here, I know how he play. So if he come out with the song that get niggas dancing and all that shit, it's gonna be a different story. So when I said that, when Meet the Grrrls came out, niggas got in my comments and was going ham on my ass. They was like, man, what the fuck? I thought you liked Kendrick, nigga. I thought you was a fan. I'm like, damn.
Now you gotta really they forcing you to bring out the real you then, because then it's like, I
Yeah.
ain't gonna let y'all niggas talk to me like
Yeah, I
that.
ain't no little bitch now. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm supposed to goddamn not come back on YouTube? Like, what the fuck?
But you know what I learned? Sometimes this is where I'm grateful for trolls. They saying sometimes what's already a voice in your head, but you're like, man, nobody thinking about that. And then you see it red, you see it out there, and you're like, oh shit. Oh, they see me. All right, fuck it then. I'm gonna have to let's get to it then. So you said that there was people that that started kind of like getting at you, I guess, for supporting those earlier Drake diss records.
It wasn't even the support of Drake diss, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I would call out like what I liked about his shit, because I wanted to be, my whole objective was to be objective about the situation. But it was really when I said Meet the Grrrls, I was like, this song is hard, but it's not what I'm looking for. Because I was ready for what turned out to be Not Like Us. I'm like, bruh, you gotta beat this nigga to the punch on this shit.
Yeah.
So when I said those things, it was people that interpreted that as, oh, you ain't a real fan.
Oh god.
And I'm like, and that's when I came right back on YouTube and I said, bro, y'all can't tell me who I'm a real fan of. What the fuck? Like, I've been listening to this nigga before half y'all niggas even got on board. Y'all ain't finna tell me shit.
Yeah.
So
First
I had to, I'm like, bro, you could look up the motherfucking tweets. Like, I hit this nigga back in 2009 on Twitter, nigga. Y'all wasn't even there.
Come on.
So, but coming to YouTube and being real and being transparent about stuff like that, people was like, okay, this nigga is a real one, you know what I'm saying? Because people, they'll try to test you. The trolls, some of the biggest trolls have turned into huge supporters because they see, okay, he ain't getting knocked off his square.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I shit, man, I just had to make an example out of nigga a couple weeks ago, and this is before all this other shit.
Right.
So shout out to DL Bark.
Hold on, can I put a pin in this?
Yep.
That is the most YouTube commentary quote that you gonna ever fucking hear. We've all said those same words at the same time. He said, I had to make an example out of somebody before this other shit. Why is that so relatable? Before this other shit. This is a constant. People don't, I think people, man, they may be envious of you, may be envious of the work that we get to do. I don't think they recognize that if you're not confident in your skin, if you don't know who you are, you're literally doing content that's going to attract people who also are just as opinionated about everything.
Yep.
But you were saying the person specifically.
Oh no, yeah, DL Bark. He the homie now. But crazy shit was I was talking about, shout out to the homie Chapo. And if y'all don't know who Chapo is, y'all should check him out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's a whole scandal going on around his name.
Yeah, developing. So, I just saw something this morning too. I'm like, golly.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm covering dude, like trying to give him his just due because people are trying to discredit his whole entire history in the game. Mm-hmm. And as I'm documenting this, this dude DL Bark jumps in my comments and he was like, I call cap on you, J Nolan. You ain't really who you say you are. And he started using y'all as like his reference points. He says, nobody that I watch in this space knows who you are. They don't cite you as a reference. And I'm like, word? All right. So I made a video.
Y'all so messy. What y'all doing?
That was beautiful. It's all good.
Okay.
Because that gave me because you know, doing this content shit, like it can derail you from even giving like watering your garden with the music shit.
Mm-hmm. So because you know what's gonna come with that for sure.
Right. So, or even just like the attention, like the hours in a day.
Yeah.
So what I did was I'm like, okay, I'm nobody. I ain't never did shit. I'm gonna make a whole video just broadcasting what I've done. You know what I'm saying? So I broadcasted me on Dead End Hip Hop, talking to them, you know what I'm saying, who are some OGs in this space. You know what I'm saying?
Man, shut up. I just did the episode recently, man. They're very, very much needed in this space and where we're going right now for sure.
So all of the shit, fucking stuff on TV, film, everything. I just like everything that I could salvage. I put that shit in one video. And I said, now tell me that I'm not reputable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he came back just a couple days ago and was like, bruh, I was tripping. Man, you know what I'm saying? And he cool. So now we good. But if you cut that off, like, and just write everybody off as a troll, you can miss out on shit like that too. Like just keeping that open hand, because it's like I don't have to prove shit. But it was a reminder to like let niggas know, yeah, I'm not just a talking head on this fucking screen, nigga. Like,
yeah,
I got a life before this shit,
bro.
And if niggas want to talk about it, we could talk about it. I'm prepared.